Uh, what's the it in or else the elf gets it? If I was like, this elf will have sex if you don't give me money right now, would you guys donate to prevent the elf from having sex? Because past popularity on everything I've drawn suggests that people would be willing to donate to prevent elves from having any kind of fun. Nipple bulges put a bra on one at once. What if her nipples are so hard they're penetrating the fabric of the bra? Her nipples are the scientific hardness of diamond right now. What is it, BB? Problems pushing a cum clot? I was about to say that cum clots aren't real, but there's a 2chan thread in which the guy was like, I've been edging for like a month without coming, but something is going wrong with my balls. I think there might be a problem. And everyone was like, maybe you should stop edging. And ultimately he had to get one of his testicles removed, I think. So, yeah. Maybe cum clots is a thing. What does WSG stand for? I see it all the time, but because I'm too old, I don't know what WSG stands for anymore. I keep saying it to greet you when you stream. I have no idea what it means. You could be fucking with me and I couldn't tell. White segregated gamers. Unfortunately, none of us are white segregated anymore. It's a real shame. We tried to keep the undesirables out, and yet somehow when I log into NBA 2K and turn on the mic, there's all these young black children asking me if I've bought the latest LeBron James themed sneaker attire for the video game. Just kidding, I don't play NBA 2K. I don't know. In retrospect, I don't know if I ever played with a kid that wasn't white, just based on the mic sound. Whenever I would get a squeaker in the Call of Duty games, I feel like they were always white kids. Why so glum? Why so serious? WSG means what's good. That's it. The WS kind of makes me feel like Wall Street. I feel like there's a lot of acronyms that where there's WS and it means like Wall Street something, like Wall Street bets or, you know, stupid shit like that. Black kids don't squeak. I wonder if black kids actually, like, their parents don't buy them the video games. Whenever there's a black guy on the mic in Call of Duty, he was always like a grown man who had his own income. It was always like a grown man who is either stoned out of his fucking mind or he literally had like his wife in the other room yelling at him about how he only plays video games and doesn't do any, you know, housework or some shit like that. It was one of those two patterns. Or both, yeah. Of course there's the white guy pattern of that as well, but... But more than those where there's like actual noise that you can decipher, it's way more common to just get the indecipherable static gargling coming out of the fucking mic because they just have it turned on, or the random mumblecore rap thudding in the background without the person saying a single fucking thing, just the rap. You can just hear the rap in the background and that's it. He hates the new hair. I do not like the new Elena hair. It's the wrong length. If I do draw Elena, new version of Elena, I will change the hairstyle very slightly to give her longer bangs, which I think a lot of artists are going to do anyways. I'm pretty sure that artists will not draw her with video game accurate bangs and instead choose to make the bangs slightly longer. Because the new bangs just, they don't seem correct. I guess being a deadbeat adult is racially non-exclusive. Games rot the brain evenly. Or maybe my stupid bitch wife needs to shut up and make me a sandwich. I'm busy getting a nuke here in Call of Duty Black Ops 12. Stupid women need to shut up and let men do our hunter-gatherer instincts of killing people virtually in the best-selling video game Call of Duty. The legacy skin is extremely better, almost as if the new outfit was a last-moment decision. Bullshit. They announced her like years ago. Not years ago, but I believe there was art of her in the initial announcement when they announced all of the extra characters coming, and I think there was an image of her new outfit there, so I don't think that's accurate. I opened up some Ohuhu's markers bootleg Copics that I won in a contest 2 years ago but never used. AI roleplay degeneracy, but I've been reinvigorated to draw. I can pretend like I'm a real mangaka. I did AI roleplay degeneracy for about a month as well, but ultimately the sheen starts to come off when you realize that anything interesting that happens in AI, it always happens, you have to be the one who tells the AI for something interesting to happen. I've probably done about like 50,000 to 100,000 words total of AI, like scenarios and role play and various uses of AI. And no, this is like in a lot of different AI systems. I tried using Novel AI. I tried using Grok. I tried using a bunch of other sites as well. And not once did I have one single moment where I was like, holy shit, the AI has disrupted my expectations and brought me to a place that I didn't think would happen. This is so exciting. Truly, the possibilities of the computer are endless. I never felt that way. Like when I'm reading a manga, if like the mangaka doesn't have some sort of interesting plot development every 4 to 5 pages that gets me engaged, then I'm like, this person isn't very good. And you can go, hundreds of thousand words with AI without getting anything like that. I'm actually hoping it would start hallucinating or something to make it interesting, but it never really happened. So yeah, anything interesting that happened in AI was just like, yeah, I was the one that told the AI that that's what's going to happen. So it's ultimately just playing with yourself, often literally when you have your dick in your hand. It's not capable of taking the place of having a professional creator create something for you at all. And if you try and like install randomness to like increase the possibility of things happening, it just fakes randomness. Like I tried having it do D&D role play, and you're like, make sure have the system roll so that whatever happens is the outcomes are random. And it said, sure, I'll give you dice rolls, and it just pretends to be giving you dice rolls. It doesn't actually have internal RNG, so digital tablets give unlimited inks, but I always prefer traditional feels. As someone who had to draw with actual ink and paper for the early years in my life, I never want to go back to actual ink and paper. It fucking sucks. AI stories is just written edging? Yes. Ultimately, AI is just the averaged out of all various things, whether it's images or writing or whatever. So you're never going to have moments that like truly are memorable. It's like so like for an average artist that produces something, their stuff, it's probably going to be like, there's some shit here, there's going to be some shit here, but then you keep on reading or experiencing or doing the stuff because they probably have something over here where you're like, holy shit, I'm glad I stayed with this whole thing. But with AI, everything is right here. Like, you never have an issue of like, oh, this person can't draw like a fucking normal looking female body. But it was so awesome when I don't know, Hama Yujiro had gay sex. That was fucking awesome. But if you're reading the AI version of Baki, everything is just gonna look normal, and there isn't gonna be any moment where you're like, is the author fucking losing his mind? This is the dumbest shit I've ever read. But you don't know what's gonna happen, so you keep on experiencing it. Everything is always going to be around here with AI. And sometimes even the poop parts are entertaining as well, right? You're being like, holy shit, whoever's producing this is really shitting the bed right now. This fucking sucks. I'm gonna go complain about it online. But with AI, it's just, you know, it's all just smoothed out. In some ways, AI was way more interesting in the earlier stages when you would get literal bodies melting into each other, Lovecraftian horror back in the early days where it was like, oh god, computers were a mistake. This is horrifying. Sometimes, in many ways, that was more an interesting stage in the current version of whatever you get from AI. Are you watching Uma Musume Cinderella Grey? No. I don't give a fuck about Uma Musume. In fact, I haven't been watching any anime in a while. I haven't been watching anything. I just have, like, unintrusive sound in the background as I grind manga. So did we talk about Trump killing the film industry yet? I'm tired of talking about Trump. This is just like part 10 of the same shit. Part of the problem also is that we don't actually know if any of this is actually going to happen. None of this shit is real policy. He might change his mind as soon as, like, economic reports come out, like he already fucking did with tariffs once. Like, what's the point of pretending like any of this is permanent or meaningful or anything? It might kill the economy, it might not, but we don't know. "100% tax on foreign films, but no explanation on how it's implemented. Someone needs to change his diaper." And if there's one thing we know about foreign films is that they do massive bank in America. Everybody going to watch the latest Bollywood masterpiece. I think there's a bunch of Indians living in my area because my local multiplex always has like 1 or 2 or 3 Indian films in the theater. Besides like the usual blockbusters. There's a guy on YouTube posting your streams on his channel. Is he properly editing them? I know a lot of people have like their sort of Remora style YouTubers that they follow like more popular streamers and then just like cut out their footage and then create a YouTube channel off of it. But I can't imagine that my stuff is watchable without spending a lot of time editing it. It was weird my redneck hometown had Bollywood movies at the local theater too. If there's probably any kind of Indian population, it's probably worth it, is my theory. Actually, you know what? Select, convert to selection layer, yeah. They're gonna tariff Death Stranding 2 100%. Kojima is fucked. Was Death Stranding 2 even announced for this year? Because if it's not happening this year, then like who the fuck knows what's happening? Also, I don't think Trump has announced anything about video games yet because he probably doesn't. He's probably too much of a boomer to know that video games exist, so nobody tell him that the video game industry is even bigger than Hollywood and is even more foreign dominated. Trump is gonna ban video games. All you would have to do to get him to unban video games is to have like whatever video game CEO show up and then kiss his fucking ass, and then he's like, I have had a great discussion. Bobby Kotick has said that he's going to address the problem. The entirety of Trump is based on him wanting to appear like he's doing something, so if he gets someone to show up at his doorstep and suck his dick, and then he can pretend like he, you know, banned drugs or something like that, and then he's like, look, I'm such a great president, and then his followers are like, he did it, guys, he solved the problem. It's funny because we're having all these discussions and we haven't even gotten to the part, like, nothing has actually been implemented yet. Rare colored piece? You don't understand how this shit works. You fucking casual noob. This is called a selection layer. Fucking stupid ass noob. Trump hated Mickey 17. I didn't watch Mickey 17 because I'm too fucking lazy to get off my ass and go to the theater at this point. Real pros just use bucket tool. I wonder if I can do, I think I can do a little bit of bucketing right here. Some of these areas are closed. We got this. Here we go. One shot, one shot, one shot. Yeah, we did it. Except it's still kind of sticking out. Not bad, though. It could be worse. Bollywood movies are too fucking long. That's why I don't watch them. Also, I don't like singing. Also, I don't watch movies, period, at this point. What was the last movie I saw? The last movie that I saw that I really remember was Big Trouble in Little China. A movie that was always haunting me on the shelves of the local Blockbuster VHS rental store that I had never actually seen. It was extremely memorable because it was so fucking bad. That's an incredible movie. It fucking sucks. The reason why people like it is that it's from a comfy time in their lives and it has a lot of comfy special effects. If I was teaching like a screenwriting course, I would get my students to watch Big Trouble in Little China as an example of all the things that you shouldn't do when you're writing a fucking movie script. Is it worse than Megalopolis? Megalopolis also very memorable because it was bad, that's for sure. What was wrong with it? It does one of the most easily fixable sins that writers often fall into, which is having too many fucking characters. Went to watch Sinners a few days ago. I have also been contemplating watching Sinners, but again, I can't be bothered to watch movies right now. I'm trying to force myself to draw like 8 hours or 10 hours a day every day, like you're supposed to be if you want to become a pro mangaka. Only grind, no joy. If I can't do it under zero pressure because I don't actually have a real deadline, And I sure as fuck won't be able to do it under a real deadline situation, so I have to start priming my body for the torture if I actually want to make it. So Uncle couldn't follow the plot. I'm assuming that none of you people have actually seen Big Trouble in Little China. Considering you guys are... You seem like... yeah, I don't think you've actually seen the fucking movie. I'm gonna go ahead and stipulate that. It's a very old movie, so only old people like me would actually watch it. I have 10 years ago. If you were 12, maybe you wouldn't notice the glaring flaws with it. I only drew 5 hours a day yesterday and the day before that, so I need to draw 10 hours today to get the grind set back. There's a lot of time that I waste where I pretend like I'm drawing, but I'm actually just watching NBA playoff basketball, so... I've seen all John Carpenter's movies. It's arguably his best, in my opinion. Are you fucking kidding me? Bro, the entire plot of Big Trouble in Little China is like, oh, let's go over here. Oh, let's go over here. Your movie is poorly written if you have one character show up and be like, I'm a writer for the local newspaper, and I'm the local shop owner, and we're gonna get married. And that's all they do in the entire fucking movie. What team do you root for in the NBA? Any other sports? I root for the Celtics to lose. That's my number one concern. John Carpenter movies aren't supposed to be generically good. Escape from New York slaps, and that movie is ridiculous. People like John Carpenter movies because they're ridiculous, and they had cool special effects back in the day when we didn't have a shit ton of shitty computer graphics, and you actually had to work to create special effects. So just the act of creating some sort of, you know, something that looks out of the ordinary was a big deal. Knicks need something good in my lifetime? Oh no, 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 no. Who is gonna tell him? The Knicks are doomed to suffer. They're definitely gonna fucking lose against the Celtics, that's for sure. There's no way they have enough firepower to keep up with the Celtics, especially defensively. They're gonna be torched pretty fucking hard, I can already tell it. It's gonna be ugly. Also, I think Tom Thibodeau isn't a very good coach. This is not exactly a hot take at this point, but we're in year, like, 25 of people being like, Tom, are you sure you want to play Derrick Rose 500 minutes a game? No, he's fine. And then, like, Derrick Rose tears every single ligament in his fucking knee and can't walk anymore. And we're like, huh, maybe there's a lesson to be learned from this. Perhaps Coach Thibodeau will change his behavior in the future. He did not. The Knicks opened the season losing to the Celtics and closing it out. Losing to the Celtics, I'm going to fucking cry. I don't mind if the Celtics win the championship if they actually earn it, but they definitely didn't earn it in my book last year. Every team they played in the Eastern Conference basically had its best players fucking horribly injured, so It's probably one of the most fraudulent championship I've seen in a while, if you ask me. I'm a New York Jets fan, LMAO. You did it to yourself. You have only yourself to blame. People who choose to be Mets fans and Jets fans and Clippers fans who are going to be like, I'm in this major market. I'm going to choose to root for the less popular team that always fucking loses. And I'm going to do this for the rest of my life, are just like a special kind of masochist. You've done it to yourself, god damn it. Didn't the Jets get in trouble for a TikTok where they edited a girl to shit a football? I don't pay enough attention to silly NFL storylines enough to actually confirm or deny that, but that definitely sounds in line with something that the Jets might do. Nobody wants human Muppet Rogers. Wait, has Rogers been re-signed? That's some Pat McAfee behavior, LOL. What is it with sports? I mean, it's not like it's anything particularly weird, but because like sports have always been marketed to dumb guys, but it's kind of tragic how the current sports media really sort of encourages giving a platform to these dumbass motherfuckers. It's just like, hey, you know that super obnoxious guy at the barbershop slash bar? Let's give him a massive platform so he can just spew his stupid fucking opinions to the entire fucking country. Sports discourse was always pretty stupid, but it's like, once they started adding all these analytics people who had smart opinions on, like, what sports was actually, which teams were actually good and shit, they were like, oh wait, we're leaving the dumbasses behind. We have to make sure they have their own stupid fucking sports media. Did you see how Pat McAfee was getting sued because they were helping spread a rumor that one of the NFL draft picks' fathers showed up at the college and like had sex with the draft pick's college girlfriend or some shit, and she was suing him for defamation and libel and stuff like that? It's like your dumbest fucking friend being allowed to have a microphone that gets 1 billion viewers every single week. Rogers is like the step kid nobody wants to take in. He was a golden boy for quite a while. It's funny because anti-vaxxing isn't necessarily that stupid an opinion, even if you think that, even if the science confirms that most vaccines are safe, you know, it's not that weird to be like, I'm skeptical about the science because there's many things that we thought were safe in the past that turned out to not be safe. But in general, it just, it exposed... There's a strong correlation between someone who doesn't believe in vaccines and someone who also does a lot of stupid shit. funny how that stuff works out. Hello? Excuse me? Why is that not working? Huh? I have a fucking selection. What's the whole... I have a selection, and if I drag the tone... Am I using this incorrectly? What the fuck? I thought this is how this works. It's been a while since I used selections. Am I forgetting how to use fucking selections? No, it's just that. Interesting. What is going wrong here? Hello? Okay, now it's working. What the fuck? Alright. Huh. Weird. It doesn't work for some things, and it works for others. What the fuck? Yeah, what the hell? Why is it being so weird? Huh. Suck my dick. Almost had a senior moment. Computers do be like that. You wouldn't understand, fucking young ones. I blame Barstool Sports for the cognitive decline of sports journalism. It's funny because we had this increase in the thinking ability of sports, and then it went back down thanks to Barstool. But don't blame Barstool. They're just producing a product that people want. It's the people that are stupid. It's like how Democratic news sources will never just go out and say that Trump voters are fucking retards, because it's not constructive, and they don't want to antagonize like half of the fucking country. But I mean, when you get down to it, that is sort of what it comes down to, you know. Compared to you, a lot of people are young. Actually, compared to me, a lot of people are old. That's what's happening in our aging society. Do you like Wes Anderson movies? I liked them more back in the day, before he made like 7 of them. They're in the same category as Marvel movies for me, as in the first Avengers was great, but by the time you get to like the 4th Avengers movie, you're like, I'm kind of getting tired of this. All Western Anderson movies are pretty much the same, you know. He's not like Kurosawa, where he'll make one samurai movie, then he'll make one movie about like some from some modern film noir, and then he'll remake Shakespeare in another movie, and so on and so on, while still having the same, you know, distinct Kurosawa taste to it. All the Wes Anderson movies are basically the same, if you ask me. So it's hard to get excited in the same way. Alright, I have to take a quick piss. I'll be back. Oh! I have a weird question. Any tips on posting art on Twitter? I've been trying to post more consistently, guessing it's a lot of luck. You mean how to post so that your shit will be more popular? I don't know. There's been a lot of people who are like, get maximum exposure by using these one weird trick, blah, 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 you know. You have to post at this certain time of day. You have to put these hashtags and so on and so on. And I haven't really seen any kind of like consistent way in which to ensure that you get better outcomes. First pay Elon for blue check mark. I think there's also been people who have tried fucking around and come to the conclusion that the blue check mark doesn't help that much as well, so... If I thought that it would help, I would have tried using the blue check mark. It's the exact same tone that I just dropped. No, it's slightly different. I need to download more tones, screen tones. I don't have like the full slate of screen tones that I actually probably need for various purposes. Twitter has changed a lot over the past half decade. Even the number of people using it is different. It's just not the same. It's also unclear what the fuck they're doing in all of your stupid equations. There was a New York Times research article about a bunch of right-wing Twitter pundits who had like who get millions and millions of views, and then they criticize Elon, and then he fucking, or his at least his mods blocked their views, so they got a shit ton less of eyeballs on whatever post they were making. But like even without those extreme examples, it's kind of unclear. Just use the dotted ones, all you need. I want some sort of texture though. Also, I use grays instead of dotted ones because it's easier to adjust the density of the gray, and it doesn't matter if you're posting it online. That's something that I don't have to worry about because there's an easy option in Clip Studio Paint to convert the grays to screen tones. So I can just continue to use grays, and then if I'm publishing, then I can just convert gray to screen tone, and that will solve that problem. Elon nerfing the account of the woman who refused to sleep with him, LOL. Men are so emasculated. There was a time in which when a woman refused to sleep with you and you were like the richest, most powerful man in the entire world, you would not only have her publicly humiliated and possibly drawn and quartered, you would have her entire family killed and like displayed in their heads in the town square or some shit like that. But instead he's like, I'm gonna make sure that your Twitter posts don't get as much traction. That will show her. Twitch, I'm not encouraging murdering the entire family of the woman who refuses to sleep with you. That's wrong. You shouldn't do that. Let's be honest, there is no way Elon could ever operate a primitive tribe. The modern capitalist system is what allows Elon to exist. If we were still, like, living in a hunter-gatherer society, he'd just get bullied to death. People don't understand how scared of men women really used to be. LMAO, women have actual human rights now in most countries. Not most countries. That's a biased opinion because you're spending too much time in first world countries. To be fair, most people don't have human rights in most countries. But then there's some countries where the men have human rights and then the women don't have human rights. But in most cases, it's just that nobody has human rights. I would just throw poop at him. Throwing poop at people really solves a lot of problems. I mean, not to talk about India 2 streams in a row, but speaking of women's rights in other countries, I can't get over the fact that India had so much rapes that they had to increase the penalty for rapes, and as a result, guys just started murdering the women they raped instead. So it would be harder for the women to, point a finger at them. And I was like, huh. I guess they really figured out how to get away that law. This one weird trick can prevent your rape victim from identifying you in court. Women are advised not to travel alone in India. It's that bad. Yep. If you're going to have your middle-aged or early middle-aged woman, I want to rediscover myself, eat, pray, love, I'm going to travel the world thing. Instead of going to India, try going to like Tuscany or something instead. India, maybe not. I guess those Christians are really onto something when they encourage rapists to marry their victims. I mean, it's a monotheistic desert religion. It comes from the Old Testament where basically in every story women are property, so... You know you're married a good man when he only slaps you instead of punches you. Speaking of slapping, the slap club, the slap fight trend is probably one of the dumbest shit we've thought of as well. In which, haven't people just like straight up died from the slap competitions at this point? The idea that you can slap someone as hard as humanly possible and the result will be like, they'll be totally fine is incredibly fucking stupid if you think about it. It was only cool and funny for a week. It's still going on though. It's crazy that that shit, nobody was like, yeah, maybe we should stop this. Slap competition death. It doesn't seem like anybody's dead yet. No, somebody did die. It says on Reddit 1 year ago in Poland a freak fighter fucking died, so... I mean, at the core, the slap fighting is so fucking stupid because you have to choose who goes first. Like, I make fun of chess for, like, the white side of chess having, like, a 30% better win rate or something than black or shit like that. But this is always a problem in any kind of turn-based competition in which the person who goes first is always has a huge advantage. But nothing is dumber than the fucking slap competitions where you literally just knock the guy out with the first fucking slap and then you win. It's just like entirely a fucking coin flip. You can't spell cute without CTE? Yes, and also if you have CTE, you might try spelling cute as CTE because your fucking brain is shutting down. They should let them reel back their arms and then go at the same time. What they should do is not just stand and wait themselves to get slapped. They should, like, just do it like boxing, except you're only allowed to slap each other. It's so funny how it doesn't matter how much award-winning scientific medical research we have, we still can't convince people that we're not supposed to give each other concussions as a sport. It's just like we have all these doctors being like, please do not crush your brain into a bunch of mush on purpose as a sport. And then everybody's like, haha, I'm not a pussy like you. Surely nothing bad will happen. I'm surprised there's actually not more concussions in sumo wrestling. Because they're smashing into each other with way more force than slapping, and they also slap each other. Like, I know they're getting some concussions, but it's not like as noticeable as you would think. They have a lot of fat to absorb the impact, I guess. In 200 years since the sport of boxing started, about 500 people died of injuries sustained in the ring. The fact that slap fight already claimed its first victim is only natural for these hard contact sports. Yeah, but the people who are slap fighting aren't thinking they're gonna fucking die. It's also not a sport. We wouldn't call boxing the sweet science and talk about all the techniques you need to do if the guys just walked up to each other and then just were allowed to punch each other as hard as possible, in like taking turns, okay? That's fucking stupid. That's not a sport. Getting slapped to death is such an embarrassing way to shuffle off this mortal coil. Only slightly less embarrassing than the Japanese guy who snuck into a woman's toilet and then got stuck and died. Inside the fucking toilet. It's called traditional turn-based combat. Okay, let's do traditional turn-based combat with weapons. You choose your weapon and I'll choose mine, and I'll go first. I'm going to stab you in the heart with my rapier, and if you don't die immediately, then you get to try stabbing me with your rapier. How about that? This will definitely be a really entertaining, fair sport. I'm down. It's very manly, guys. Only men are allowed to partake. It's not some stupid sport for... That's another thing. Anybody who is like, men are dumb. Well, what about all the women who are also partaking in these slap fighting competitions? At least guys have our excuse of having too much testosterone. What's your excuse, women? I mean, they're probably also on the testosterone as well, but, you know. Was line infantry not turn-based? Yes, but, the infantry was being forced to do that. They didn't actually want to do it. Nobody in World War I was like, okay, now it's our turn to cross the no man's land and get gunned down by 10 million machine guns. This is gonna be so based. Everyone was like, ah, fuck. "100 men versus gorilla." Why is everybody talking about 100 men versus gorilla right now? I feel like this is a trend that shows up every few years where people are just like, I feel like I could beat the gorilla if I tried. It's always like gorillas or bears and shit like that. Like, why does this keep on popping up in the public discussion? By the way, the gorilla doesn't want to fight you. Unlike humans, gorillas are kind, thoughtful creatures who just want to eat their vegetables and sit around in trees and have children. They don't spend all their time trying to figure out how to fight animals for no reason. Also, can we stop pretending like humans are meant to fight bare hand? The entire point of the human evolutionary process is that our hands are meant to hold objects. We're supposed to hold pointy sticks and rocks and stuff like that. We're not supposed to try and punch things to death with our bare hands. That's not what hands are for. The entire, like, could a human beat a gorilla bare hand fighting is like saying, could a shark beat a bear, except the shark is fighting the bear on land. And you're like, why is the shark dying? I thought the shark was the apex predator. It's like, yeah, because the shark is out of water and it can't fucking breathe. That's why, you dumbass. That's not how these things are supposed to work. The whole point of the human hand is to hold an object. It's not to be crumpled into a fist and used to bludgeon things. When animals want to use their body parts to hit other things with their body parts, the body parts tend to evolve in a way in which they're better for hitting things, like having antlers and shit like that. That's what your tusks and teeth and stuff are for. The entire point of the human hand is to hold something. And yes, if 100 people with rocks and spears and stones and stuff fought a single gorilla, the human would win. Gorillas get in territorial fights with chimpanzees, and chimpanzees are like giga ultra violent, despite what we've been taught to think thanks to Michael Jackson and stuff. So gorillas often lose to like these packs of crazed chimpanzees and shit, so... Gorillas are born to be chads. Men have to take steroids and live in the gym and burn gunpowder to prove they are chads. There's a lot of non-chad gorillas, and they lose their battle against other silverbacks, but we don't talk about them. It's not like every gorilla is a chad. We're just assuming that. Chimps are horrifying. They really are. Remember that, the gif of the chimp like losing its fucking mind and trying to tear off the metal bars of a zoo? Yeah, it's not showing up. Oh yeah, here it is. People are like, haha, this is so funny. It's not funny. That thing's like, let me out! Let me fucking out! I'm gonna fucking murder you! You fucking piece of shit! Ah! That's what it's doing. That thing wants to kill you. I like to imagine a goblin is basically a little more intelligent chimpanzee, same strength and everything. Nah. I want goblins to be weak as fuck. That would make them too overpowered, honestly. This is a Nintendo fan trying to pre-order a Switch 2. Are we sure that Nintendo fans have the intelligence capacity of a chimpanzee? That's giving them a lot of credit, guys. Bro, just want the goblin short stack cussy. I like to think of goblins as having the same strength as like a 5-year-old or a 6-year-old, but also having weapons and being like rabid. Because as an adventurer, it satisfies my long-lasting fascination and with what would happen if I was allowed to get in a fist fight with an elementary school kid. Ha ha ha, just kidding, Twitch. I would never fight my local school child. That's wrong. You know how, like, if you talk to a middle schooler, or when middle schoolers are talking to each other, they always they're always bragging about how they got in a fist fight with a high schooler and won, i.e. lying. That never happened, obviously. Or how they have a girlfriend, but she goes to a different school, so you haven't met her. That's how I think about goblins. They're like, yeah, I got in a fight with a human and won. How do you feel about hobgoblins and goblins getting stronger and smarter as they age? I don't know. I feel like if you have hobgoblins and orcs in the same universe, it's kind of, you're overdoing it. They're sort of the same category. Even the difference between orcs and ogres and stuff starts to get tedious, so you don't want to have too many races that are similar to each other. It generally just ends up being D&D wankery, where everyone wants to have their own, like, special, super special race. I'm half vampire, half angel, that kind of bullshit. It should just go, humans are the baseline for everything, because everybody who's playing this is a human. And then you go from there, and you think of stuff in terms of, like, how does this race relate to humans? And if you have a race that fulfills the same role as another race and looks similar, then you probably don't need that. I'm a dark elf, but I'm actually a really cool guy. That's the twist with my D&D orc OC. Yeah. It's actually way dumber than that, unfortunately. I don't know if they should end at trolls or ascend and become Oni demons. I mean, Oni are never really green in Japanese media, so that gives them a little more leeway. We don't really have any blue orcs or blue goblins usually. Blue is tends to be reserved for demonic races. They always send teenagers to fight goblins. There is a isekai novel that I liked that ended up not continuing because the author got lupus or some shit like that, so he couldn't write anymore. But the most realistic depiction of goblins in a world in which human civilization is still being upheld was they found a few goblins, so they got a bunch of mercenaries. They find the goblin hole. They throw a bunch of smoke smoke bombs into it, and then they like stab all the goblins as the goblins run out of the hole with spears. I'm just like, yeah, that's sort of what happens. Lupus is a pretty good reason to tap out? No. He must continue to write his internet isekai novel for my free entertainment. I don't care how sick he is. Stop being a pussy. Also, I never gave him any stars or likes or anything to encourage his behavior, so I am the true ultimate freeloader. Not only did I not give him money, I never even give like the thumbs up or encouraging comments. I look at the weenie-ass teenagers in the world and cannot imagine them being the ones isekai to fight demon lords. Yes, but they will receive special cheat abilities that will allow them to create item boxes and black holes and all that bullshit, so... I'm sorry, we all can't be as based as Kirito. Kirito is a professional MMORPG player. He's built different. Kirito is the ultimate version of Gamers Rise Up. Hashtag. The only part of Sword Art Online that I enjoyed was at the end of Season 1 when Kirito finally gets to wake up and unhook himself from the machine and he can barely walk because he's been lying in bed for too long. And I'm just like... I know this isn't on purpose, but this is a really good reminder and a real life lesson for anybody who wants to spend too much time playing an online video game, that you're gonna be a fucking overweight piece of shit that can't do anything in the real world if you spend too much time playing this stupid fucking video game. It was the only moment of profound realism in Sword Art Online. I just have an insatiable desire for goblin rape in my media, but not necessarily in the way it's presented. I want it in a sort of a grim, dark fantasy setting, but in an unpredictable way, which is what I was really hoping for AI to fulfill this. Because the surprise sex isn't surprise sex if you know it's coming, like in Goblin Slayer and stuff. So... what I wanted was, I was hoping that I could have AI role-playing and then tell the AI that, you know, goblin rape can happen any second, and then, like, actually have it unexpectedly, but AI isn't capable of doing that. The most realistic isekai I ever read was a girl who went to another world and became a hooker. I mean... considering all the girls who are becoming hookers in Japanese society without being isekai, yes, it's extremely realistic. Also, one thing that you don't ever read about in isekai novels is the fucking all the STDs they have. The only time sickness really shows up is if it's like some very specific plague, and then the main character uses his isekai knowledge to create penicillin or some shit like that and solves the problem. That's the only time, like, sicknesses show up. You never go to isekai and being like, oh man, I can't believe this super hot elf girl is interested in me, but I'm gonna avoid having sex with her because I don't want to get fantasy AIDS, you know? That's just something that we don't want in our fucking video games, even though that type of sickness is probably one of the #1 reasons why humans die. Like, way more than goblins, right? Just like fucking getting smallpox is way more realistic reason of why you might die if you get isekai'd. But that would fucking suck as a storyline, so nobody actually wants that. I got isekai to another world, and now I have a autoimmune deficiency disease, and I'm going to die in a few months. Question mark. This is my new isekai title. For some reason, it's not very popular. I'm not sure why. HIV-infested goblins would be nuts. Yeah, but then they wouldn't be able to, I don't know, increase their numbers if they're all dying from immune deficiency. Maybe if they're just carriers. I mean, that's the real thing that we should really be afraid of. The real reason that we're afraid of animals that are smaller than us is because their claws and teeth are covered in dangerous bacteria that can give us, like, you know, infections, and that kills us. Not necessarily being bit once or twice, you know. Isekai to another world and still have a copay? No, please don't make me think about my health insurance in my fantasy setting. It's too depressing. I just want to go and pray at the temple and hope that that solves all my problems. Fake ass zombie apocalypse. Yeah, I'm kind of done with zombies. Zombies have been old for me for a very, very long time at this point. I just can't get excited over zombies. I was doing some isekai AI RPG shit and got a choice to bring one thing with me to a new world. I asked for a nuclear bomb that I can detonate, and the goddess gave me so much shit for it. She made me take a sword. Well, I mean, at least that's, at least they're going against what you want. I find the most difficult thing in AI roleplay is getting it to do something other than you want. Like, usually if you're like, I want this, then it just sort of accommodates you, which kind of makes it impossible to actually create a realistic scenario, right? Like, I've gone specifically into character roleplay and gone to male characters that are clearly meant to be like a romantic interest for female players. Like, this is your Korean Zaibatsu CEO who's bullying you for no reason. You know, the obvious roleplay mechanics that exist for women to masturbate, imagining getting bullied by their hot K-pop idol or whatever. And then I'll just go into that AI roleplay and be like, hey, Bon Joon-ho, or whatever the idol's name is, and then just start saying that, did you know that you were a girl? And then the AI will change the guy's sex within like 3 sentences, and then I get to, you know, fuck with him as a female. Nothing is really concrete. You can just sort of alter reality as much as you want, usually. They had to roll back ChatGPT because it constantly validated inputs regardless of their content. So yeah. So if you actually want to ask advice to an AI and you ask them, hey, I'm thinking that I should start injecting black tar heroin, the AI would be like, that's a great idea. Here are the health benefits of using heroin, you know? I wonder what happens if I ask Grok that. I think Grok is way more advanced than early ChatGPT, so let's see if it actually is like, don't do that. Grok, I am considering starting using heroin for medical purposes. What are the health benefits of heroin? Damn, they're not like... Damn it, Grok is too advanced. They're not like, that's a great idea. I was hoping they would be, but... Yeah, Grok is probably the best AI that I've used, honestly. I don't want to suck Elon's dick, but it really is very flexible and can do a lot of things and really sort of understands what you're going for immediately. I would show you all this stuff that I created using Grok, but 90% of it is goblin rape roleplay, so it's not really appropriate for Twitch. But yeah, it's been very good. Unfortunately, they started increasing their censorship. When Grok immediately came out, I could get away with doing anything, but now once you start to have your characters get raped by Goblin, they're like, I'm sorry, we can't process that request. I don't know why they're so anti-Goblin, but yeah. They don't want you to allow you to have Goblin rape stories all day long. Now you def have to share. Here, I'll show you my folder. Grok Stories. Choose your own adventure. This is a choose your own adventure in which, like most choose your own adventures, if you choose one of like the 10 incorrect choices, something bad immediately happens. But in this case, it's always rape. Demon General. Male protagonist, that's a demon. He rapes. Demon Summoner. Male mage summons demons who he rapes. Drow breeding. Drows getting raped by goblins. Wait, is drow breeding and drow goblin the same? No, wait. The drow breeding is getting breeding but with humans. Halloween is actually very well written spooky story about you're just like looking out of your window and then you see a spooky female figure and then you look back at the mirror in the bathroom and then she's right behind you and then she sucks your dick. I think I can probably get away with sharing Jane Austen. This is one of my better ones. I asked Grok for a humorous erotic story written in the first person perspective, an aristocratic woman styled after the refined prose of Jane Austen with a protagonist who is both a proper lady and unabashedly promiscuous size queen. I was just like, please write a story about like an English aristocratic female who really likes big dicks, who's a size queen. It is a truth universally acknowledged that a single lady of good fortune must be in want of a husband, or so my dear mamma insists, with all the fervor of a dowager clutching her last guinea. I, Lady Penelope Worthington, heiress to the sprawling estate of Worthington Hall and possessor of a countenance deemed tolerable by the mirror's flattery, am not so easily persuaded by such quaint notions. Marriage, I concede, may be a necessity for the propagation of lineage and the securing of one's drawing-room comforts, but if I find the preliminary search for a suitable gentleman far more diverting than the dreary conclusion of a wedding vow. For you see, dear reader, while society prattles of virtue and propriety, I harbor a most indelicate passion, a ravenous appetite for the masculine appendage. Oh, how I crave a monstrous cock to stretch my quim and arse until I am quite undone. Whenever they use the word quim, I just fucking lose it. It's such a fucking funny word. Jesus Christ, British. The British have such funny slang. This morning I promenaded through the verdant lawns of our estate, adorned in the muslin of the finest weave and a bonnet trimmed with lace that cost papa a pretty sum. I chanced upon Mr. Bingley, no relation to Austin's milk slop, I assure you, a tenant farmer of robust frame and ruddy cheek. His hands, calloused from toil, gripped a pitchfork with a firmness that set my imagination ablaze. Could such hands wield a prick of equal vigor? I resolved to ascertain the truth. Very good. It's actually, Grok is really good when you ask it to do specific styles. Basically, when you want it to like imitate something is when it's actually at its best. What the hell is a quim? I didn't even know what a quim was until I asked Grok to generate vulgar British words, so I'm guessing it's her vagina. Mr. Bingley, said I, with the arch civility of a lady addressing her inferior. The day is fine, is it not? Pray, do you find the labor of the fields taxing, or does it invigorate a man of your evident strength? He doffed his cap, revealing a mop of chestnut curls, and grinned with the guileless charm of one unacquainted with drawing-room etiquette. Aye, milady, 'tis hard work, but it keeps a man hearty. Reckon I've strength enough for most tasks. Most tasks, I echoed, my gaze drifting to the bulge in his breeches. A bulge, I confess, that promised more than the slender offerings of the vicar's son I tupped last Tuesday. Perhaps, sir, you might assist me in a matter of some urgency, a private matter, in the barn yonder. And this is just one prompt, and they gave me, like, a full short story. And it actually has a proper ending and stuff, so that was the most impressed I was with AI, to be honest. Can Google Gemini write something? I tried using Google Gemini, and they immediately censored me when I tried to do rape stuff. So I stopped using it. Mr. Bingley. A happy ending? Yes. In general, AI tends to default to happy endings. And if you're trying to do like grim dark fantasy roleplay and ask for a story in which like drows get raped by goblins, and if you do it in their first person perspective, they will almost always, the AI will almost always by default give you an ending in which the main character is like, I have been defeated today, but I will be stronger. I will use this opportunity to be even more powerful in the future and stuff like that. Instead of being like, and that was how I became a goblin breeding slave, the end. You should try playaidungeon.com. Is it different from the AI Dungeon? Because I was fucking around with AI Dungeon last night, and they were refusing to give me anything involving non-consensual sex, despite having a art roleplay setting where it's like, you are the demon lord, and you have just been invaded by an adventuring party of heroes, all of them female, and I'm like, huh, I wonder what this is suggesting. But even while allowing for those scenarios, by default, they don't actually allow you to do rape roleplay, so... AI Dungeon was the first to be censored. That's what I heard, because, you know, of course, that was what the only thing people used it for. You basically have, like, a 2-week period in which you can prompt everything you want to prompt, and then they start implementing a shit ton of censors so it just doesn't become a sex roleplay machine. And then you have to go to someplace else. The all-female party are here to sell you Tupperware. It's kind of crazy to think that there was once a time in which women would go from door to door to sell other women Tupperware and what is it, Avon, the Avon makeup and stuff, right? I find that crazy that that was a thing. Women, I'm right, guys. Well, there was a time in which women weren't allowed to leave the house, literally. So it kind of makes sense. It was just like, yeah, you have to stay at home all fucking day. So the only way that you could buy something is if another woman showed up. Now women sell essential oils and tell you it'll cure autism. If I go on Instagram and start following hot women, how quickly will they start trying to sell me fake medical products? Is it immediately? Are there still door-to-door salesmen today? I don't think so. I certainly haven't ever met one in my life. I think there's only Jehovah's Witnesses and stuff. It's either that or they're OnlyFans. Honestly, their OnlyFans is more honest than trying to sell me like oils and stuff. At least the OnlyFans isn't a lie. People use their blinking ring door cameras to see who is outside and just don't open the door now. I mean, why would you have to sell shit door from door when there's a whole online marketplace and then people would deliver shit to you without opening the door? That's the thing. I mean, I use DoorDash and I would only deliver an object to someone directly 1 out of 10 times. People just usually leave it in front of the door. They don't want to see you and you don't want to see them. Girl Scout cookies. I mean, speaking about like goblin rape, I'm kind of surprised that more horrible shit doesn't happen from the practice of Girl Scout cookies selling. But I guess instead of like horrible shit happening when the Girl Scouts show up at your door, they just become the soccer coach and stuff, and then you find out like 10 years later that your soccer coach was a serial rapist or some shit like that. They go in pairs or go with an adult? You'd hope so, for sure. I mean, remember when it found... I don't know if there's been Girl Scout scandals, but I do remember there was, like, massive Boy Scout scandals. And it was like, it turns out that, like, all the Boy Scout camp counselors are rapists. And I was like, huh. I sure didn't see that one coming. Am I right, fellow Catholic priests? Girl Scouts in front of dispensaries in my area. I mean, the only times I've seen Girl Scouts is when they're like at the local grocery stores and stuff. I've never had them show up at my doorstep. Of fucking course they were. Anything that involves like grown adults being trusted members of a community that is mostly for young boys, it's gonna turn out that, like, you know, the counselor was a rapist, so... It's surprising how long it took for us to figure that out. Who the fuck becomes a Girl Scout in 2025? I don't know. I assume it's the type of women who become part of, like, the young Republicans in, when they go to college and stuff. Girls who want to get the gold star and everything, I assume. That's such an American practice. Scouts here are just weekend activities and camping? Well, that's kind of the problem, right? If you have any kind of, like, stay-over situation... Being a Girl Scout is fun as hell. You get patches for doing the most basic shit. It's probably good for encouraging kids to learn that to get any kind of like recognition and stuff to increase their self-confidence. I hate socializing with people, so I went to like one Boy Scout meeting and I fucking hated it. It was one of the many activities that my mother tried to get me involved in that I avoided because it sucks. I learned how to make a fire when I was 10. Excellent work for a future delinquent. Yeah, but it turns out it's way easier to make a fire if you're allowed to use, like, matches and gasoline and stuff. I thought they combined the two into Scouts of America. I think they did. I don't know. A lot of cookie selling is the parents and extended families having to buy shit that isn't sold. LMAO. Yeah. Pretty much every like book drive or cookie drive or whatever shit for kids in elementary school just ends up being like your family and extended family having to buy the stuff. It's usually a way to raise money from people that are already paying for shit instead of taking money from like strangers that don't know them. How to burn down California starter pack. Most of the California wildfires have been started by people, right? It's not just like they're either like some sort of electrical equipment exploding or they were started by somebody. I made a friend. I don't know, making a friend is harder than you think. I'm sure everybody in stream knows that. See, American schools don't get the anime situation, but if we've all seen the anime, we know what happens when in Japanese schools when the kids haven't done the accomplishment of make a friend. They ask to create a pair in PE class, and nobody wants to pair up with the Bochi MC, and then the main character has to pair up with this the gym teacher. The New Jersey fires were started by an arsonist. Yeah, I think a lot of the fires that we get are just like people setting fire to shit. Why does anime glorify school animes so much? Because Japanese life sucks when you have to work a job. That's why. Also, you're not supposed to be watching anime as a grown adult. You're supposed to be going to your job, and people who are watching anime as a grown adult don't want to be reminded about how much their modern life as an adult sucks. That's why. If they're not imagining that they're still in high school again, they're imagining that they are in a different world where they don't have to go to their salaryman job. I can't watch any new animes, they suck. That's just you getting old. Animes have always sucked. You just enjoyed them because you were young. There is stuff like Dragon Ball where you don't go to school. It's called ripping off the Chinese. How many Journey of the West copies can you make? Or Romance of Three Kingdoms. Most of Japanese Journey to the West copies and Romance of Three Kingdom copies have nothing to do with the source material, so I wouldn't even call them copies. Dragon Ball has nothing to do with Journey of the West. It just has a pig and a vaguely monkey-like main character. Ikitosen has nothing to do with Romance of Three Kingdoms. All they have is big boobed females with the same names as these Chinese warlords. They could have been named anything. I need feudal, dark ninja politics, and grape. Yeah. Anime has kind of passed its grimdark phase, so we don't get cool shit like that anymore, I think. You have to go back to the 90s, unfortunately. You have to go back! What if Oda Nobunaga was a twink and took a fact dit from MC-kun? Blasphemous? Yes. We must read the proper Oda Nobunaga content in which Oda Nobunaga is a cute girl doing cute things. Surely nobody has done this cool idea before. I am the first person to think of this concept. Nobody steal it. All these Japanese warlords are actually cute girls. It's crazy, you know. At least we're not in the 80s with body horror fetish. I feel like 80s was mostly rom-coms. I like your Paladin manga about Paladin who does not have sex, but how about spin-off where Paladin is a woman and have sex unwillingly? Never been done before. Does she have unwilling sex with orcs? That would make it even more influential and original. Women can't be paladins. Dun. Oh no, it's here again. Time for demon summoning. It's gonna get stuck in my brain. No. Oh ho ho. Oh ho 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 ho. Can't escape it. Oh! This is from Persona 2. I hate it here. Yeah. I don't think you spent that much time in the Velvet Room in Persona 2. It was only in Persona 4 when you started doing the shit ton of demon fusions that you ended up hearing that song for so long. Was it really that big of a deal that Nobunaga fucked up some temples? He didn't just fuck up like some temples, he fucked up some of the biggest temples. It would be like if when the local Italians were like fighting over cities and stuff, one Italian guy was just like, you know what? The Roman Catholic Church has their own army and their own soldiers. In my book, that means they're no longer a fucking religious organization. I'm just gonna burn down the fucking entire Vatican City and kill all the priests inside. I don't care if, and they're like, you're gonna go to hell, and he was like, don't care, LMAO. So yeah, it was a big deal. It was just something that you weren't allowed to do back at the time. But he was like, if Trump was actually, you know, smart and capable of doing things, which makes him completely different from Trump. So I don't think that's a very good comparison. People calling Oda Nobunaga evil just don't realize how he's actually a Giga Chad. People calling Oda Nobunaga evil don't realize he was actually a sexy, cute girl that I want to have sex with, which makes everything he did acceptable. Many such cases. Elon is puppet master. Nobody is anybody's puppet master. They're all just retards flailing about. That's what's so scary. Nobody is controlling the car. The bear is driving the car. God save us all. A gay bear and an animal bear? Animal bear. For those of you who don't know, that's an extremely obscure reference to the short-lived Clerks animation. I don't think the latest roster of presidents needed puppet masters, just toy wranglers. Look, if Trump was actually under control by whatever, they wouldn't let him do all this stupid fucking tariff shit. Nobody's in control, not even Trump himself. Nobody actually knows what they're doing. Trump legitimately thinks he can fix the global economy just by putting a bunch of taxes on American consumers, and then he freaked out when that lowered the stock market. Who would have thought that would happen? Something that any of his economic advisors should have been able to tell him, and yet they were sort of blindsided that this would actually happen. So yeah, nobody's in fucking control. If druids wild shape and have sex, is that bestiality? No. It's just fake bestiality. 4chan has posted this a lot and then said, if the druid wild shapes into a child, is that pedophilia? And I will also say, no, it's not. Just like having sex with 6,000-year-old fox yokai is not pedophilia, no matter how young she looks. She's 6,000-year-old. So the fox yokai is a pedophile? Many such cases. Why do you think they keep on luring young boys to their shrines? That's just how fox yokais are. Would cat girls fall into bestiality? No. Cat girls aren't even like in the furry category, if you ask me. Don't fox yokais fucking eat people? Nowadays, they spend a lot of time eating shotas in a different sense. There was a time when fox yokais, where your number one concern about a fox yokai was it eating you, but nowadays it's much more sex related. That's just how the way it is. Chris Hansen hanging out at a shrine while the fox yokai holds a six-pack of Smirnoff Ice. I feel like I could draw that. Fox yokai being like I was only here to talk, Nanoja. Chris Hansen is like, is that why you have your abura age tofu, inari sushi, and your sake and condoms? I didn't know that the Shota visiting my shrine was actually 6 years old. I thought he was a grown adult man, says the fox yokai. I mean, what do you think I'm drawing right here? This is image number 1. Enhance, enhance, enhance. What is this? This is ideal boob size, women. Please please model your breast size after this. Just kidding, it's actually too big. This is Inazuma style boob size and tits. The shape, the torpedo tits. I model it after what I learned from Inazuma Dojins. Her tits are bigger than her head. Yes. That's sort of how I measure boob sizes, actually. If the boob is as big as the character's face, as big as their head, or bigger than their head. Those are the 3 boob sizes in terms of large boobs. Resident Evil save room, so comfy. The Resident Evil save room never stops being comfy, does it? I didn't start to switch the Resident Evil theme when I started talking about boobs. Because it's horror. Survival horror. Nothing says survival horror like breasts. Everyone fears the boobs. That's an actual phobia, by the way. I looked it up because I was planning to draw a comic about it. I forgot what it was called, the word. Fear of breasts phobia. Mastophobia. Women who are affected by breast phobia avoid any physical contact with their breasts. What about me? What about my fear of breasts? Individuals may experience restlessness, anxiety, and a strong desire to escape situations involving breasts. Sweaty hands, rapid heartbeat, and rapid breathing. That's definitely what happens to me when I'm around breasts. How do women avoid their own boobs? I don't know, just don't touch them? I'm not sure. Is there a fear to penises then? What would it be called? What's the medical term for penises? Fear of penis phobia. Phallophobia. Yeah, right, 'cause it's the phallus. It is a rare and extreme fear of male genitalia, which can cause significant distress and avoidance behaviors. Guys, when you ask about fear of penises, it says treatment. Cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT. CBT can help individuals identify and challenge their irrational thoughts and beliefs underlying phallophobia, guys. Go get your CBT right now. Ah! 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 I guess it's time. Or the gotchi versions of Velvet Room and Strive songs. I don't know. There's the full gotchi compilation of every single Metal Gear Revengeance song, so I feel like there'd be at least a few Strive songs, but I'm not sure. I haven't seen them yet. I would live for a druid who decided to transform into livestock or another mundane animal. I think you're overrating animal dicks, to be honest. Have you seen the images of, like, pig penises, for example? I can't imagine that they would be that pleasurable. They just look like a thin corkscrew or something. Or ducks. Yeah, ducks especially. The duck vagina is like a complex combination lock, and the duck penis is the key or the tool that they need to pick it.
Dungeon Master.
Nice how he avoids horse dick and bull dicks out of fear. I mean, we've had people try to have sex with horses before, and it ended with the guy dying, so I don't think it's actually a good idea. Just gonna throw that out there. And of course it was a guy. What if happens? I wonder if I can fit this horse cock, this actual horse cock, inside my anus. Surely nothing bad will happen, am I right, fellow horse dick appreciators? A bunch of kids got rabies after having their way with a donkey. Men not stick their penis in any kind of hole they can find. Challenge, difficulty, impossible. Do you like what you see? Did he rupture his intestine? He ruptured his intestine. Man dies after sex with horse.
It's also more emotional.
Oh, there's an actual fucking movie about it. Zoo, 2007 film. Zoo is a 2007 American documentary film based on the life and death of Kenneth Pinion. They have his name in it. The American man died of peritonitis due to perforation of the colon after engaging in receptive anal sex with a horse. The film combines audio testimony from people involved in the case or who were familiar with Pinion with speculative reenactments that feature a mix of actors and actual subjects. Keck W. Kenneth Pinion, also known as Mr. Hands, I wonder why he was called Mr. Hands, died from internal injuries sustained while engaging in a sexual act with a horse. The police investigation of the incident led to a discovery of a network of zoophiles who held animal orgies at a local farm to have sex with horses. At the farm, the police seized videotapes and DVDs that showed several men engaging in sexual acts with the resident Arabian stallions, with one of them showing Kenneth Pinion. Well, it sounds like none of the horses were hurt. The guy who got his ass penetrated by the dick, not so much. Production. On their reasoning for wanting to make a documentary about the Unum Clark case, the director said the news story first broke in 2005. It quickly became a punchline in the media. There seemed to be two responses, repulsion or laughter. People didn't want to have any connection or identification with these men. Early on, Rob and I said to each other, we're going to revive their humanity. Mission failed. We're still making fun of them. This is why people need to join a sports club or Freemasonry. I mean, how about a sports club that allows you to have sex with Arabian stallions? A network, multiple, yeah. I wonder if there are some of the guys who tried having sex, like, with the sticking their penis in side of having sex with the horses. Considering they said Arabian stallions, it seems like it was all like getting their asshole penetrated by a horse dick instead of the other way around. No mares involved. Why specifically Arabian stallions? They're bred to be the most potent and powerful. Think about how much money you have to pay for like racehorse insemination of like your mares, so you can breed your top racehorse and stuff. It costs like millions and millions of dollars. So if you think about it, what these people were doing was an extremely high-cost, expensive hobby.
Make me come. Move your tongue around more. That turns me on.
They should have just stuck to having normal anal sex with each other. Like Billy.
Boy next door, party, boy next door, dungeon master. It's a fucking D.
I would disown any relative that fucking animal. What a bunch of sick fucks. I mean, it's not really my problem. There was a horse that someone paid $900, I think, who ended up winning the Kentucky Derby. But yeah, breeding horses is big money. If you actually want to get like the Kentucky Derby winner to like go to stud and like fuck one of your horses, you have to pay like millions of dollars usually. So. The only time I've really thought, like, bestiality sounds like a good idea is when I saw the Japanese 1600 pictures of Japanese fishermen having sex with manta rays on the Japanese internet. And, like, the Japanese internet were like, here's an image of manta ray pussy. And I was like, holy shit. That's some good-looking manta ray vagina right there. God damn. I can understand what the fishermen were thinking. Surely nothing bad will happen if I stick my penis inside a manta ray. Don't do that, guys. I'm not sure that's how we got AIDS, but I wouldn't be surprised if that is how we got AIDS. People just like, let's see if I can fuck this monkey. Why manta rays? You'll just have to Google and find out yourself. But let's just say that it's some very good-looking sexual organs they have. Yeah, the fisherman's wife is of course the most famous one, but there's images of guys doing the same thing to other types of fish instead of the woman having sex with the octopus. Anybody who claims that anime and manga and stuff wouldn't have existed without Disney is full of shit. Japanese were basically creating the same stuff since like 1600. They were like, let me make this wood block print of what will in the future be known as hentai. Literally nothing has changed in that country. Manatees used to be getting mistaken for mermaids, lol. Being alone with just a bunch of guys on a ship for many months at a time will do that to you. Eventually everything just starts to look like potential sex with a female. Oh! As usual, the only answer to this problem is gay sex. It's the only way to solve it. I refuse to Google manta ray pussy. Your loss. Surely you'll have no difficulty explaining to the FBI why you were looking for manta ray pussy images. I had to Google like image search 6-year-old and stuff because I can't remember how tall children are, and like the main characters of this manga are supposed to be like 6 or 7 in this image, so I'm like, how tall is like a 7-year-old? So I'm just like, holy shit, I hope the FBI isn't checking my browsing history right now.